Hello and welcome to episode 0 of the Free Reads podcast. My name is Steven Sarasin, and I'm just going to introduce you to the concept of this podcast. So, I'm trying to get into voice narration and possibly voice acting. In order to do so, I want to practice my skills. So, what I did is I found a list of public domain books which are free to read without legal prosecution, without any royalties. And I'm going to pick amongst these books that I would like to read and practice my art form by reading them. And then I will deliver this product free to you all. So I can't promise it'll be perfect. I'm sure that you could probably do better if you were to pay a little bit. But if you can tolerate a little bit of, rough work, I think you'll get a nice, good, free product that continually improves. And you can track my journey through this awesome industry. So the first book I picked was H.P. Lovecraft's The Dunwich Horror. And I'm a particular fan of H.P. Lovecraft for his thematics. And I think that he has some really cool ideas in his books. However, I will admit to his actual delivery being a little bit slow, a little bit, dry at times. He doesn't really go about the whole monster thing, in the I'm running for monsters, I'm fighting for monsters kind of way. He often goes into it from a professor who's uncovering some investigations which themselves had uncovered monsters. It's always kind of a secondhand thing. Eventually, no spoilers, but eventually it always leads to someone, discovering some information about some cosmic horror that makes themselves go insane. That's a common theme throughout his works. But the actual excitement is nothing like you'd get from a Stephen King novel where the actual protagonists are being chased by monsters and all this. Well, that does happen. I'm not saying it never happens, but there's a lot of slow and methodical build up and almost romantic writing um, that can bore some people. But I think it's just so thematically interesting. And despite the problems with him, the author as being he's a definite racist, for sure. There are numerous examples of him ascribing certain racist beliefs towards different monsters that he created, and just outright bringing up race in gross ways. I think you're going to see some of that in this book, which just keep in mind, it's very old. But the nice thing about, I think, H.P. Lovecraft's racism in particular is that for the most part, if you're careful on a revisit, it can be erased. Um, so you can really just delete that out of this. It's not so core to the story that you can't remove it, but it's there, and you have to be aware of it. And I think there's been a lot of modern retellings of H.P. Lovecraft, which have been more aware of this sort of racist, disgusting side of his work, and have done some really incredible things. So I encourage you to explore that. But, anyways, without further ado, so we'll begin the first episode of the Free Reads podcast, which will be the first several chapters of the Dunwich Horror. And I do intend to break this up and do 30-minute segments from here on in. And I think I'll keep that going, And if you want more, just keep playing them. I think 30 minutes is enough. It's about all I can really edit in a reasonable amount of time in order to keep delivering the goods over and over again. Well, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for staying tuned. I really hope you enjoy the product. And yeah, that's it. See ya.